Everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth. Flipper, welcome to the second cabin out here. We're headed to the first. Let me turn these lights out really quick. I've been doing some work out here, but I was on a live show. I gotta turn this light out too. Sorry, it's dark now. I am never on live shows. Hey, you better come or you're gonna be stuck in here. Let's go. Come on. All right, I'm leaving. Oh, there you go. Come on. Come on. And I was on that live show because a buddy of mine, Mike, Death Bow Picker, could not make it, and he wanted somebody to fill in for his commitment, and I couldn't tell Mike no. So I jumped over there. I was talking to the guys, and one topic really struck my interest, and that was about things that, you know, this person was saying that they had seen other resellers sell, and they started picking that stuff up, and it just doesn't sell for them. And then the conversation got going into things you should not be picking up. And then the criticism started coming. Well, they didn't, but the criticism towards other resellers saying, hey, don't listen to people out there. I see these videos all the time. Carrie, American Arbitrage, is famous for these videos. Don't buy these at yard sales. They're worth nothing. And so I want to talk about those items today and give a little twist, because sometimes they are. You know, I see these blanket statements sometimes in YouTube videos. Sometimes I'll see them in Facebook groups. Matter of fact, some people get excoriated in Facebook posts sometimes when they pick up something that I'm not even going to say they think is worth money. A lot of times it is worth money, and people are like, oh, you know, you're so dumb for picking that stuff up. I'm like, man, who takes the time to make these comments over there? And sometimes people are misguided. They're early resellers, and they really don't understand, and they pick up stuff they think is worth money. And a lot of times yard sellers also think things are worth money that aren't worth money. And they always have things that are worth money that they don't think are worth money. And that's a good thing too, especially if you're a reseller like us. So I want to talk about some of those items today and talk about my experience with some of them and being turned off to some of them, but then realizing, hey, there's always something in each category. Because I pick up all this stuff and I get just raked over the coals sometimes for some of this stuff I pick up. And some of it is kind of things that are going up in value sometimes, and then they're down, and then they're up. Let me go to VHS, for instance. And you see me buy VHS, and then people think I'm an awful reseller because I pick up VHS. But people don't realize a couple things. One is some of it I'm picking up because I want it. And some of it really is worth good money. And I've said that before for certain, even Black Diamond VHS. There's one in particular that's worth a good deal of money. And people just like, oh my gosh, this guy's an idiot and whatever. Listen, we're going to go over categories that you maybe shouldn't pick up, but keep an eye out for certain things in those categories that are worth money. And you see me sell hats sometimes, and I've seen resellers lately in some of the chats and some of the different places say, hats are dead, don't buy hats, you know, whatever. And that may be the case. Hats are down a little bit, although in this time of year they're up. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't pick. I sold a hat the other day for $100. I paid $2 for it. This is a Cat Diesel Power. As soon as I saw it, I knew it was vintage. And sure enough, when I looked at the back, Louisville manufacturing, made in the USA, I'm like, sweet. Unfortunately, you'll see right here, it has no foam in it. But you know what? That's kind of good at this point, especially when you find one that has no foam. I usually avoid ones that are, unless they're high-dollar hats that have no foam. This might be a $50, $100 hat right here if it was in perfect condition, but it's not. Why I picked this one up is because it still stands. It's not completely floppy. It still has form to it. And that hat right there sold pretty darn quick for just around $33. I think just under. I sent out an offer. I think I had it at $39. So I'll take that for sure, especially because I didn't do any work to it at all. So even if you hear a category is dead, doesn't mean the entire category is dead. And hats are one of those. Hats still sell for really good money, but some of those marginal ones just don't anymore. Another category I have heard is dead and buried lately is NASCAR. And that just isn't the case either. Now, there is probably an overall slump compared to where everybody was at in the pandemic, for instance, but NASCAR's not dead, but a lot of it is pretty bad. A lot of the die casts are bad. Some of them are amazing, though, so you just have to look and you have to learn a little bit over time. So right here's a single stitch Dale Intimidator 6. This might be a $50, $60 shirt 3 years ago, but now it's a little bit less. We got just under $32 for it. It's a sports image shirt. See if I can find the logo right there. Single stitch top and bottom in pretty good condition. and 1993 tour right there. And that one sold, and I probably paid $1 or $2 for it, and that's a pretty good profit margin. Now, here's another one that I mention all the time, and I pick it up all the time, and people, Turner's throwing a ball out there, I think, just hit the shit. People don't realize there's still money in things like Vera Bradley bags. Now, a lot of them just aren't worth the money. They're just not worth it. If they're not in good condition, you're not buying them cheap, I wouldn't pick them up, but some of them go for decent money. And I'm going to pull one out here and give you an example of what I'm talking about. Now, this one is one of the best ones I've sold lately, but I regularly sell Vera for over $20. And these are bigger ones. You see, I like to pick up the bigger ones, but even the smaller ones can go for over $15 sometimes. The big key on these is condition and cost. What are you paying for it? This one right here, I paid $2 at a sale. You saw it on the Commonwealth Picker show probably about a month ago now. Maybe not that far. And that duffel, because it was in good condition, had good color, got the print on it, thanks to the lenses now that you can use. That one sold quickly, $40 plus shipping. So if you want to listen to somebody that says, hey, don't buy this, or that Commonwealth Picker guy's an idiot, he doesn't, he buys Tupperware and buys whatever, that's fine. But that's $2 into $40 plus shipping. I'll take it. And what I said on that show the other day was, hey, people don't necessarily listen to everything you say. And you get trapped if you're watching pickers out there on YouTube or some social media and you see them pick something up and show you a crazy comp. Doesn't mean that everything in that genre is going to sell. And that's the case for Vera. Tupperware is the same way. I rarely pick up Tupperware. I talk about it all the time because I used to pick it up quite a bit more because I don't know why. I like it, I guess. But I still pick up Tupperware. One of my favorite finds the other day was let me show it to you. It's this little salt and pepper shaker. Right here, this little mini one that had the holder with it. And it was 50 cents. And I'm like, sweet. I know these go for like $25, $30 sometimes. When I got them home, I realized that the paint was worn off. See the S and the P, you can't even see it. The paint's wore off. So this is probably a $15 to $20 set right there for 50 cents. That's worth it to me. But there is a ton of Tupperware that isn't worth it unless you're buying it dirt cheap and bundling it up together. But that doesn't mean that an entire category is dead. There's a few more I'm going to talk about throughout the rest of this video. The one that comes to the top of my head was one that had me convinced because I had looked at Boyd's Bears forever. Little figurines and little stuff. It's like, man, they never seem to be good. But I found a Boyd's Bears nativity scene, and it was going for great money. I think I sold it for over $100. So even in categories like that, there are some winners. Now, we could argue about Beanie Babies, right? Okay, if you want to pick up Beanie Babies, go for it. But to me, it's too much of a learning curve to maybe figure out the 4 that are actually worth selling. And I don't want to get in there and dig and figure it all out and figure out all the information. I'd rather just avoid them. But I guarantee there's somebody out there who knows Beanie Babies and knows enough to know, okay, I can pick up these 6 Beanie Babies. The rest are garbage, but I can pick up these and I can make $40 off it or something. Now that is the extreme example, of course. I'm going to have to put a few things down here. And black diamonds, of course, are the extreme example where I know that there is actually there are 2 particular VHS, and they're very, very hard to find. I've only ever seen 3 of these particular ones. They're not the typical clamshell ones that everybody lists for $8 million. But, if you don't know, you don't know. And there are a few that are actually worth money. There's a great example right there. That Indiana Jones right there is pretty much worthless. I've said this on videos before. But the ones with the black backs have a little value. This might be worth $6, $8 on eBay because it's opened. But if it's sealed, depending on the back of it, a lot of VHS are worthless, but some VHS are worth a ton of money. So don't discount an entire category. That's not to say everybody wants to dig through VHS, because sometimes time is money, and if you sit there and dig through a bin of VHS, you're missing something else. So it's good to know little things like that. This sold on dibdit.com, and I don't remember what it sold for. Not a whole bunch. I only paid $1, though. It sold for $11.65. Plus shipping. You can send offers out over there now. So I saw a liker and I sent an offer out really quick. And I got a sale. So $1 into $11.65. Not a huge money maker, but I love Snoopy and I figured it would be cool looking in here, and it didn't sit in here very long. So Cool little dibdit.com sale, and I don't list a ton over there, but I'm listing more and more. And the next item is a plush, and it also sold on dibdit.com. I've had 3 static sales over there. I only have like 20 things listed, so that was pretty cool. But plush is another one of those categories. I'm going to pull that one in a second, but I want to show you a different one because a lot of people like, oh, they tease Dave or whatever. You know, why do these people waste their time? But listen, if you know what you're doing, there's money in it. A lot of it's low dollar. A lot of it's not worth picking up. A lot of it maybe you could bundle or sell live. But I was complaining to Dave about Build-A-Bear the other day. Like, I never find it. He finds Build-A-Bears that are worth 50 bucks. I'm like, I never find these. But I found one the other day, and really it was kind of by luck because I saw Hello Kitty, and I'm like, Hello Kitty always sells for me. And then I flipped it over, and of course it's a Build-A-Bear. I'm like, that is awesome. And this one we have listed, I think, over $50. So there's a lot of the Five Nights at Freddy's plush that go for good money. So everything in here, well, not everything, but most of the stuff in here is $10 to $50 for a plush. That's good enough for me to sell. There's an example of a really good plush right there, and Hug-A-Bunches are good too. So, and the more you niche down and stuff, and I don't niche down very much, of course, the more you know, and there's a huge benefit to being an expert in something, an expert in a category. This one sold over on Dibdit, like I said. I think it's Mighty Star. I love these. When I was a kid, of course, these are the ones that they give away at the little fairs and stuff. It's a vintage Mighty Star Dino. I don't think it has a date on that one. What? It says 1980. Okay, there you go. And I got to thank somebody for this. Jacqueline bought this one over on Dibdit, and she paid, was it 10 bucks? $10 on this. This is all pure profit at this point because we sold a ton of Flintstone stuff that we got down at the Webster flea market. So basically what I'm saying, and I'm saying this to, I don't need to say this to niche down sellers because there's a lot of niche down sellers that are just like, they're grinning. They're like, I hope these people keep saying X is worthless because I'm going to make a bunch because all these everything pickers are going to pass it up. And I like to be dangerous in all categories. Shake weights are, this is sort of an example of it. This isn't exactly the highest selling item in the world, but this particular kind sells. And it doesn't sell for a ton, but when you can get something for 50 cents or $1 and it sells for 25, I'll take that sale. I've even heard video game sellers saying, hey, you better sell stuff now because that market's dying and everything's digital now. Let me tell you, there are still tons of video game sellers that got a lot of life left in them to sell for a long time because there's old folks out there like me who love the old style games. And I think this one's down. It should be here. I was kind of thinking maybe this one was overpriced or something because it hadn't sold, but Mortal Kombat in pretty good condition. I had it at $10.95 plus shipping, and I was like, do I need to lower it? I looked at comps, and there were some over that, some under it as well. So I kept it, and it sold. This one actually went to a viewer. This one went to Josh. I watch your show all the time. Thanks for all the lessons and entertainment. I'm on a mission to collect 150 video games this year. This is number 5, halfway there. Very cool. That was one I enjoyed even in my college days. I wasn't a huge video game player, but NHL 95 was my favorite Sega Genesis game. I always was the Kings. I got to be Gretzky all the time. It made it easy. Also liked the Red Wings back then. Yzerman and, was it Fedorov? Is that right? I think that's right. They were pretty cool. I'd be them every once in a while. Shoes is another category that you don't hear much of. You know, shoes are going to be dead. Shoes are never going to be dead. The collector market, however, for the high ends goes up and down and up and down. But the run-of-the-mill stuff sells for a bunch of folks. I just hate doing it. But this deal the other day was so good for all kinds of shoes. I bought them, and I filled this bin up again. I was finally getting lower, but now I have an extra bin. I got boots, shoes, so three bins, 4 bins, 5 bins, plus all those. I really need to sell off a bunch, which is something I want to talk about later, but that is for a different video. These are Kyrie earrings, I think. Are these even the right shoe? Let me double check over here and see if this is the right shoe. I think it is, but I can't, no, this isn't it. Hold on. Now that I found the right shoes here, I realize they're from a different sale. I picked these up for $5 at the Liberty University sale, if you remember that crazy one on the Picker channel. And they sold pretty quickly, $47.45 plus shipping. I had 3 viewer sales today, so we'll knock that one out too. He's got a lot of watchers really quick, so it doesn't surprise me a viewer picked him up. Donald, he said, decided to go for it. Like I said, love your channel. Thanks for taking us along for your picks. Thank you, Donald. I appreciate it. And I hope those shoes work out pretty good for you. Looking at comps, I think that's a pretty good price. So like I was saying, this is an example of a category that some people say just ignore, like VHS, for instance. And that's fine. There's tons of VHS worth absolutely nothing. So it's not like you ought to spend your whole day. But this is a VHS cassette holder tower. And it's taken apart right here. But you can see it goes on top here. And then you just slide the cassettes in this way. And I've sold these before. I've bought, usually get them dirt cheap. You're going to be shocked when you see what this thing, this little plastic thing, it comes apart, so it's not that hard to ship. That's all for $50 plus shipping. I bought this one and the other one for $3 total. All right, here's the other one. They're almost identical. They're different brands. This one sold for $54.95 plus shipping. Super light. Put them in one of those boxes. Easy to ship. This stuff is easy money because nobody picks it up. Go out there and look. These things have got to be everywhere at thrift stores. You know, people sometimes don't even know what the heck they are. Or they look at them and it's like, who would want that? Because a lot of people will sell them super cheap because they think the same way. But somebody's out there looking for them. And $3 into $105 plus shipping. These were two separate listings. The same person bought both. And they're in Virginia. That makes it really easy. That way we can just ship it out together. And sheesh, I mean, don't ignore things at your own peril, but at the same time, you got to be careful using your time wisely out there. And if you're in a great yard sale area, sometimes it's not worth it to dig, but maybe later in the day, dig a little bit. I really like to be, since I'm an everything picker, and there's big advantages to not being, but I tell you what, I like it that way. It's just more fun that way when you go out and source, but I like to be dangerous in a whole bunch of categories, even maybe not massively high dollar stuff. You know, you've seen me pick up phones in the past, cordless phones. That's what I'm going to pick up here in a second. I've stopped picking up some of the lower end ones and only pick up the ones I can get 20, 30 bucks for. There's a whole box, and I pick these up often, but I usually have stopped selling the chargers and all the components and stuff. I just sell the phones themselves. These are Panasonic, bought a whole box for $2. And these sold quickly for $25 plus shipping. And sometimes you have that opposite effect, you know. I don't think I've ever heard anybody trash Lego, for instance, because there's a lot of money to be made in a lot of Legos. But sometimes you just think, oh, it's Lego, I got to buy it. Sometimes that's the opposite effect. Sometimes you think, hey, I got to buy this thing. It's not worth that much money. Some things you think, oh, I shouldn't buy that. And it is worth money. This is one, speaking of NASCAR right there, that I thought would be a lot better than it was, and it was cheap. It was $1 or $2, probably $2, I think, at that sale. But you know what? I brought it home and it wasn't worth that much, but still worth $18 plus shipping. I get a ton of messages from folks, and sometimes you can tell they're just new. They'll buy, like, hats, for instance, is a good example. They'll be like, I bought all these hats and they just don't sell for me. And I'm like, okay. And you look at what they got in their store, and it's like, yeah, I can see why they don't sell. Those aren't worth anything. I mean, it sounds cruel, but it's true. They hear hats sell, and then they pick up every hat, and a lot of hats just don't sell. I'd say the same thing for jeans, and I sell a lot of bread and butter type jeans, because around here you don't get some of the higher end stuff. But, you know, I know certain, I mean, Levi's sell for the most part if you put the right price on them, but there are some Levi's that don't sell either. And sizes are a big deal, and condition is a big deal. This is bread and butter type stuff right here, and it sold for $25.95 plus shipping. And of course, there are a lot of plush, like I said, worth money, and very few worth as much as this one has been worth to me. And I'm not talking about Figment here. I'm talking about this guy. You'll notice I'm putting other stuff in here because we're getting low. We are selling off the decoration. That one is staying. So we'll go through that one, but that one's going to stay, I don't know, until I retire maybe. We might use some for charity down the road. So we are really slowing down how many of these we sell. But you guys are amazing for all you do for us. And this Fleet Enema Man, or excuse me, Enaman, mine over on CommonwealthPicker.com, or Enema Men, because I don't want to do any trademark infringement. Although they're made by the same company, Curto. And that is the, I don't know, I guess I'll just promo it. So this is the number 3, this is the number 2. That's all we have left of number 2s, by the way. Except for the decoration out in the other shed. I think there's just a few left over on CommonwealthPicker.com. So this one right here went to, who bought this one? This one went to Lisa Marie. I like that. So we appreciate it, and I hope he gets things boom for you. Here's a brand that I hear people say don't sell for another reason, but I have never had any trouble selling Mary Kay. knock on wood. It's just the bag, but it does have a few of the little sample accessories and stuff in it. So for $35 plus shipping. You see what we got in here? We're trying to do some Commonwealth comedy. This is like Lucille Ball here. Turner's got some Commonwealth comedy. What do you got?
How do scientists freshen their breath?
How do scientists freshen their breath? I don't know.
With experiments.
Thank you.
Bye.
Got 2 pups waiting for me. You chase that cat away. Black Rifle Coffee Company mug. We got 1 left of these, I think. Paid $5, sold them all but 1 of this particular style. Still have a bunch of the other ones. $23.70 plus shipping on that one. Listen, y'all, I hear this about Funko Pops, and it is largely true, but you can find some winners in there if you buy them at the right price. I think it's unlike Beanie Babies in that way. There are really some winners out there in that category. There's other things, you know, and I want you to chime in below. Is there a category you used to avoid, but now find a couple things in that category? Avon's one of them. You look up Avon and go to highest comps, you know, got highest selling price, solds. You will find some good ones out there, and some of you know exactly which ones I'm talking about. And there's a lot of Avon stuff worth absolutely nothing. So you just got, like Polo. I've heard people trash Polo lately, like that stuff never sells anymore. I'm like, well, there's a lot of it that doesn't. Generic Polo shirts or something. Tons of it, especially the vintage, is worth money. Even some of the modern stuff, Pima cotton stuff, can still go for a good enough amount that you have a decent margin. All right, y'all, Reagan's here. I'm going to spring a question on you real quick, out of the blue. You don't even know, okay? A lot of people tell me Squishmallows aren't worth selling. Are there some Squishmallows worth some money?
Yes.
Which ones? Do you know any?
The most popular one I'd say is Jack the Black Cat. Because there was only 500 made. So
oh, okay. So
that's the most popular one.
Okay. And look at all the Squishmallows that we have. Have you looked through them all? I probably don't want you to. We got some back there. We got some inside. I got a bunch of bins out there. And I found that quite a few of them are worth some decent money. Yeah. So you have to help me out. All right. What do you got?
Oh, never mind. I was about to say bye. Abigail got a CWP IKEA bag.
CWP IKEA bag. And that's this one right here. We're selling both types, actually. But that one's got all of our logos on it. Where can they find them?
At CommonwealthPicker.com.
Hey, I turned the lights out already. Thought I was done. But I forgot about one more thing right here. You're done, aren't you? Little Marlboro bag, $15 plus shipping. I've heard a few folks lately say they're giving up on jewelry. It's just not selling fast enough. Just have a slower sell-through rate. But, I mean, this is obvious, right? Jewelry, yeah, okay, it might not be hot right now or whatever, but gold and silver never go out of style. So I'm going to continue to look for that stuff. When I pick up ashtrays, I rip on myself because a lot of ashtrays aren't worth money either, but I know that there are some that are worth money, and I'm still looking for the McDonald's one, for goodness sake. So there's good. Speaking of McDonald's toys are pretty much worthless, but there's winners in that category as well. I sold a lot of vintage Power Rangers McDonald's, I think it was McDonald's, toys, and they were worth money. So there's certain parts of each category, as bad as they possibly could be, the category in general, you can still find some winners. So let me know some of those bad category winners out there in the comments below. We appreciate you stopping by, and I can't wait to see you next time.